Welcome to XPMPro 2.0. The purpose of this video is to explain the changes we've made to the look and feel of the software. I will begin by explaining the changes we've made to the toolbar. The first major difference we've made is to the Start Scan button. Previously, we had one Start button that controlled every experiment. This could sometimes be confusing because you weren't always sure on what experiment you would be running. So sometimes pressing the Start Scan button would result in a different experiment being run than what was actually intended. Now, we've given each experiment type its own Start button, so there's never any confusion to what sort of experiment will be run. For example, the spectrum analyzer has its own Start button. Each spectroscopy mode has its own Start button. The oscilloscope has its own Start button. And last but not least, imaging has its own Start button. Many of the controls remain the same, such as the pause button and the stop buttons. But we've added a new control to the toolbar, and that is our spectroscopy within an image settings. For example, from the main toolbar, we can now choose to run an IV spectroscopy in a grid within our image during acquisition. Previously, these controls were somewhat hidden under the scan setting options. So we've moved these settings to the main toolbar, so there's never any confusion to which spectroscopy mode you will be running. We've also moved our multi-parameter imaging control and our automatic parameter incrementing controls to the main toolbar as well. Other icons on the toolbar are for the navigation panel, the analysis panel, opening acquisition windows, or opening our image line. We have the oscilloscope, we have our spectroscopy modes, electrochemistry, and our spectrum analyzer. You can also open the scan settings and the spectroscopy settings from the main toolbar. The other main changes that have been made are to the navigation window. We have grouped similar controls under different tabs to help maximize screen space. These controls can be shown or hidden as desired. For example, our tip approach controls are still the same, and they can be found under the Tip Approach tab. The SPM status has been moved to the navigation window as well. Other tabs of the navigation window, we have the manual control, which can handle tip retracting and freezing the feedback loop. These can now be done during acquisition. The spectroscopy controls can also be found on the navigation window. The aux feedback can also be found on the navigation window. One new addition is the pan feature. This can be useful when you zoom into an area and you lose sight of your image window. Another addition is the Load at End feature. Load at End can be used to automatically load an image into the navigation window upon completion of the scan.